Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Divine Connections. Hello, everyone. So glad to see you. I am your host, Katrina Deal-McCall.
And I am also your host, Sherolynn Eppinger.
All right, Sherolynn, we are in week 2 of the new season, Sherolynn. I'm so super excited because I know we just have another full show and just a wonderful special guest. Go ahead and let us know who we have on the show this evening.
Well, it is definitely a divine connection for real. One that I didn't even realize. Well, first of all, we have on the show with us today, Dr. Andreina Jackson. She said she got to get used to that doctor, but I'm going to give credit to where credit is due. Okay. This is Dr. Andreina Jackson, and I want to talk about our divine connection. So 2.5 years ago, I walked into my gym, 1,000 pounds. Larry wasn't my gym then, but I walked in, coming in to purchase space and also become a trainer. And I met Andreena, and I off the back just really enjoyed her energy. I'm like, man, I really like that lady. We would talk, we would laugh, we would have little tidbits. I was in school, found out she was in school. So it was awesome connection. And then fast forward this year, I'm at home looking through some photos that were on the table. And it was my brother's high school class of 1990 Rhodes school picture, and I'm looking through, and who do I see in the front row? Andreena. And I took a picture, and I said, "Is this you?" And she said, "Girl, you got some good eyes. Where you get that?" I said, "You went to school with my brother Rick?" And she's like, "Ricardo." So once again, a divine connection that all those years ago, here we are sitting here talking. So Dr. Jackson, welcome to the show. We're so happy.
Thank you so much. And Katrina and Sherolynn, I'm so honored to be here on the show. I love when great minds come together and for a common cause. And it's always to further the knowledge of our people, our race, women, just bringing together, coming together collectively to sort of bring forward new knowledge and new thoughts and ways for us to be a better people. And I love it. And so I'm so excited when I was invited to do the show, and I'm here and I'm ready to share.
All right. Well, we are so happy to have you here once again. So if you don't mind, before we get into our questions about what you do, can you introduce yourself just a little more for those who don't know?
Okay, so my name is Andreina Jackson, born and raised in Cleveland, attended Cleveland schools. As Sherolynn said, went to Rhodes High School, Myers University, Cuyahoga Community College, graduate of Case Western Reserve. So I've been in the community. I live in my community, and I serve my community as a mental health therapist. I also volunteer for the free clinic. I've facilitated trainings, and I've also been the owner of Marshall Manor. That's an adult care facility for mental health residents since I think 2008. So I've been around in the community for a long time. Like I said, born and raised here.
Awesome.
That's what I'm talking about. For the community, by the community.
That's right.
And that's what's so important. A lot of times people get their stuff, take up and leave.
And
I'm right in the heart because this is what grew me, and I'm ready to give back.
Yeah, give back to your community. Exactly.
Amen.
And be an example.
Awesome. All right. So Andreena, I see here you are the CEO of Mindfitness Consulting. So tell us a little more about that.
Okay, so Mindfitness and coaching and consulting was sort of the brainchild as a result of my research study. But what Mindfitness is two components. So the coaching is for individuals who are interested in pursuing their goals. It could be whatever type of goals. It could be weight loss goals, relationship goals. My background as a mental health therapist allows me to work with people on relationships, mental health issues such as depression, anxiety. You know, people always go to psychosis like schizophrenia, but I work with all populations and all mental health diagnoses: bipolar disorder, mood disorder, personality disorders, you know, narcissism, borderline, codependent disorders. So the coaching component allows me to work with individuals from less of a therapeutic perspective to more of a well-rounded environmental perspective. So you don't have to just come for mental health reasons. You can come and meet with me if you have some personal goals or personal issues that you want to address, even if it's just how to better conduct yourself and establish more personal development strategies to live a better quality of life. So the second component of my business is the consulting. And so with that, that's more of what my doctorate degree was geared towards in behavioral health. So I work with larger agencies like hospitals and healthcare centers, bringing the mental health into the medical facility to address chronic health diseases. So a lot of time we have individuals who come in with fibromyalgia, but they're also depressed. So they're trying to get medical help for the fibromyalgia, but they're not addressing the depression, or they have some type of chronic pain, or they may have diabetes and they're experiencing anxiety, or just something as simple as with COVID-19, they may be experiencing grief from the death of someone. And so they may have what's called somatic pain, which is pain that medical doctors can't find a issue or a place in the body for. And so therefore they may send the person over to speak with me, who will kind of help you go through the psychosocial elements of what may be going on and why you're experiencing the pain. Because while the pain may seem somatic, it's derived from something else. It's just a transference from the physical to the mental.
And that's something a lot of people don't realize. As you're talking, it makes a lot of sense. We know that the mind is very strong. We're so strong, we don't even use all of it. We're not even tapped into the capacity in which our mind, but it makes sense. If we have our mind focused on things, it'll be better for us to handle everything else. So why would you not address these issues in order to help with the rest? Because like they said, the diagnosis will kill a person. Why? Because they're thinking about it, because they're thinking about the situation. Yes, so it takes you out. So it's like what you're doing goes hand in hand with everything else. Like, oh, you need to speak to this person in addition to whatever else you're going to do, because this needs to be strong to handle everything else.
And that's essentially what it is, connecting the head with the rest of the body, because hospitals generally work from the neck down, or whatever that physical pain is, and nobody addresses the mental. And I don't know why now it's become a phenomenon, or somebody had an aha moment and said, hey, let's house these two things under one roof. Because when you tell a person to go to a mental health facility, there's a stigma behind it. And we are just getting to the place that we're seeing stigmas and mental health addressed in television shows and more in advertisement. I have never seen so many commercials about bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, and I'm excited to see it. But and there's another one about tardive dyskinesia, which is the movement that people experience from taking psychotropic drugs over a long period of time. So we're slowly making progressive moves to address that. And so it's exciting to see it. And I'm excited to be on the cutting edge of this new area that we practice in for integrated care. This area is so new that never seen this position advertised for in a job position. And so that's sort of why I started my own practice, because I want to train more people in facilitating integrated care into hospital settings, where we're training multidisciplinary teams to carry out the integrated care model, from nurses to the front desk person to security. Everybody's aware that this is what this is how we treat this, and it's developing the continuity of care.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about the practice and helping individuals, but more important, reaching more people collectively by implementing it into our small healthcare centers and hospital settings.
Oh, that's so great. So great. Now, I was just reading over your bio too, and I just love case studies. I'm always real. I always find those so interesting. They're like, okay, who wrote the case study? What was, the criteria, all of this. So I wanted to talk a little more about there was a case study that you did or a part of that it was actually 19 African American women I see here from ages 18 to 65 participated in a 4-week web-based weekly group discussion involving internal and external barriers engaging in physical activities. So tell our audience a little more about that, because that just sounds like just
this is interesting because it was sort of born out of Sherolynn's gym and us trying to figure out why we couldn't get enrollment up for the fitness center. And so what was interesting was, we were seeing people coming and going, but they would stop, they would look through the window, they would see what we were doing. And I just thought the workouts were phenomenal. So I couldn't understand why more people weren't here. So I originally had a case study talking about chronic pain and depression. And because we talked about this, we would go back and forth about this, because surely it's not about the membership, because there's a hair store right next door. And, African-American women, we don't play about our hair now. We don't,
That's right.
We don't keep
That's right.
and our clothes well. So it couldn't have been about the membership cost. But I really wanted to understand what is the barriers? What's keeping people from working out? And the study just sparked such a passion in me that I decided, and even with COVID, it was kind of a setback, but I ended up doing a telehealth study, and I found the Planet Fitness app because it was a free app, whether you had a membership or not, but it was just something that you could collect data on, and they simply screenshot whatever they were doing and sent it to me. So the purpose of the study was to do a pre and post survey to understand what are the barriers. So I purposely sent out emails with information about chronic disease. So we took a baseline to see, okay, so these participants, what if any activities are you doing to exercise? And so it could have been something as small as, oh, I go up and down the stairs, or, I hang laundry, or whatever it was. You just had to engage in some type of activity to demonstrate for 30 minutes that you are, you're getting your heart rate up or your breathing rate up. Yes. So it was so easy to collect it in this app. And I figured if I allow people to do the exercises that they wanted to do, they would be more likely to complete the task. And so in addition to the exercising, they would send those, and they had to do it at least 3 times a week. They would send those in a screen pic to me. And then we met online like we are here and discussed what are some of the barriers that we had. And when I tell you, there were some wonderful stories that came about, everything from people's health and, I started working out because my sister had a heart attack, or I just lost a loved one, or I have a wedding, or I have a class reunion coming up. The reasons and goals for working out ran the gamut. And so that's when I realized we have to start understanding the individual's why. And treat them accordingly.
Yes.
So many times we go in the gym and we're looking at this person and they look so fit. Oh, I'm never going to see any results. So no, maybe you shouldn't be measuring weight. Maybe you should be looking at your BMI, or maybe you should just be looking at your A1Cs for your diabetes and lowering. So it made me understand that we have to treat everybody significantly different. So, some people just don't work out because, I paid too much to get my hair done and I just don't want to.
I believe it.
Mess up my hair.
They schedule. They tell me I'm gonna come after because I'm getting my hair done on Thursday. So I'll see you next week. Yep.
Right. And so we began to talk about, have discussions around low maintenance hairstyles and how do we do what they call protective hairstyles that we can maintain our hair, or buying more natural looking hairstyles. Because sometimes people work in the workplace where they have to be a little more professional. And so they can't, and so we ran, and a lot of us wear our hair natural, up under our hair, our wigs. And so, just the maintenance of that. And there were people who felt like their significant other did not want them to get smaller or do any working out, because now who are you working out for? What's your motive? What's your, And so we had some wonderful, wonderful discussions, and some indirect privileges, or should I say rewards, that came from the study was the camaraderie, the relationships that was formed. By the time the study was over, they were like, wait a minute, I just got in the groove of working out, and so you need to continue to do this. We got to continue to meet every week. And so I wanted to pick the study back up, but I haven't I was trying to do it with Planet Fitness as a sponsor because I use their app and I want to publish. And so I wanted their permission to continue to use their app. And I guess that's sort of a longer process than I anticipated, but I do continue to talk to women about their health. And so as a result of that, Sherolynn and I came together, and she wanted to do a speaking series every other week about topics around physical activity and just mental health and what's holding us back. So it just spiraled into something really beautiful.
You took my question. That was going to be my next thing I want you to talk about. That's perfect.
Okay.
Listen, if we ever need a fill-in host, you are it. You are perfect.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that. I told you since the time I met her, I'm like, this lady is awesome. So it's always been like that since we met. Oh my goodness. But no, I did want to touch on that. So I was reading Dr. Jackson, and I'm going to say Dr. Jackson every time because that is an accomplishment.
I really have to get in the habit of doing that.
I know you do, but I'm going to toot your horn for you because it's better when other people toot your horn for you. So when I was reading Dr. Jackson's dissertation, because, when she was getting finished, she sent it to me and I was reading it on that plane. And that's where Conversations for Actions came about. So we're in our fourth session of it, but I want you to talk about some of the things that you've noticed from talking to women. I know you said that they're into it, but as you continue, even maybe in the gym these last couple of weeks, any differences or feedback that you've gotten? I know I've gotten a lot of feedback about how they love it and the importance of, okay, why are we not being even more successful or even starting, what are these setbacks? So Conversations for Action was birthed because we understand that the mind needs to filter with the body and the spirit, everything that we're trying to be. And sometimes we don't even recognize that we have these roadblocks. We just came off of a two series about thought blocking. We don't realize we have these blocks. Yes. So what type of changes in these last couple of weeks can you say you've noticed, or what is some of the feedback you've gotten?
Well, one thing I noticed immediately is that each class increases. It doesn't decrease, that's for sure.
That's good.
And they come ready to talk. They have their journals and they're taking it very seriously.
That's so good.
I've had young ladies come up to me and speak to me after the class, but what's even more interesting, I have 3 of the young ladies from the training as personal clients now. Nice. And so I'm so excited that they're excited about being better and getting better, and not just being better for themselves, but each one teaching one how to be better. And so one of the things I noticed immediately is that the questions have increased and the aha moments. You just see it in their wheels are spinning and they're in the back like, wait, I got something to,
We talked for 2 hours last week.
Yes,
2 hours last week. And we didn't even really want to stop.
Right. And it was supposed to be a 1-hour class, but the discussion just kept going deeper and deeper. And that's what we want. That's what we want, to have those conversations, and for people to have that realization that, oh my goodness, I'm not the only one going through, I'm not, I need you to stop looking through my window. I need you to get out my head. And, it was just exciting. It was exciting. And I think that the women are really learning something, and they're they're asking more questions and inquiring more. How can I learn more about this? And how can I, and it was so funny. I forgot to ask, what would they be interested in for the next class? But
I'm gonna figure it out. I'll figure it out. I got a good, so for Saturday, I want to have class at my cousin's smoothie bar.
I was going to talk about nutrition.
So, look at that. So we can talk about that maybe in the next one, because his it's called Sunshine Cafe. They have healthy food and healthy drinks, and I just confirmed it with him today. So
where is it at?
It's down on 80th and Kinsman, straight down.
Okay, I was just there the day before morning. Yesterday.
So we're gonna have the next session is going to be at his smoothie restaurant.
Listen, I literally had a conversation with him and asked him for a menu, and he was talking about how he was updating some things on the menu.
At Sunshine?
Literally the day before yesterday, because I had to get my tuna quesadillas.
Girl, and aren't they good?
Yes.
I get the salmon wrap.
Yeah, well, mine was salmon quesadillas, but they were excellent. I got 2 orders, and he was just telling me about the business and everything. So yes, I did meet him. I don't know his name, but just the day before yesterday, literally.
Yep, that's my baby. That's my first cousin. Yeah.
Well, you guys are already too small. So is this event open to the public? Do they got to
Yes. We definitely have it open. I will be posting it, and so you guys, you can come. It's going to be down at Sunshine Cafe. We'll make a post about it. But Conversations for Action, session 5 will be at the Sunshine Cafe, 9 a.m. on Saturday.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
That is a synergy right there. Because what are the chances that I just had a conversation with this young man? It's so weird. And he's probably going to be like flipped out, like, oh, wait, you just
divine connection. Ever since I've gotten in, because the show was going before I got on, it's been like that. It's been from the time we talked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just, I tell you, when I saw you in my brother's yearbook, year picture, I was like, that's crazy. That is crazy. So, yes.
Wait a minute. I said, I was the class president. And you was like, really? Like,
I'm sure. Of course you were.
Yes. All right. So I wanted to ask you, so you have these the conversations for action. Mm-hmm. All right. And you have the case study that you did. So what is the overall goal? We always have, the little small goals around the way, but what is the overall goal and achievements that you want to do with all of this?
Okay. So I would say for my research study, I got this huge global goal of if we can just lower the numbers for African-American women across the board for chronic disease. So I did an independent study prior to the research study that I did. And so I just wanted to read about chronic disease and obesity and the common theme I found in everyone from hypertension, obesity, diabetes, it was exercise. So while we cannot do anything about the social determinants, and that social determinants are like the food deserts where we're located collectively, geographically, the educations that's available to us, the housing that's available to us, and jobs and things like that. While we don't have control over that globally, we can control our exercising. And so I'm thinking, wow, if we could just get this same model duplicated and from state to state and just make a collective effort and lower those numbers, wouldn't that be awesome just to see that we're not number one for that? I mean, who wants to be number one for? Listen, we fare the worst in health indicators against all other ethnic and racial groups. Mm-hmm. That's not good because it increases morbidity. It shortens lifespan. And it destroys our quality of life, which causes deleterious effects in the family, in the workplace, and social activities. We don't want to be known for that.
Right.
Think about it. We're the head of our households. We determine what gets eaten. Even if we have a significant other, we're pretty much the ones that gauge what's going to be eaten. If we don't,
I tell people that all the time when they're like, oh, I need to go. I'm gonna come work out, and my kids like that. And I said, you buy it.
Right.
You buy the food. If you on a diet, whole house on a diet.
Yes.
And not even diet, because I don't like to say diet.
I don't use the word diet.
Change. So if you're making the lifestyle change, whole house got to make the lifestyle change.
Yeah,
they can't buy it for themselves.
Right.
Exactly. And it's so crazy because my children, I don't care if I just decide I want to eat wheat checks or Special K. All of a sudden they interested in wheat checks and who ate my Special K? Who ate? Like, you don't even think they would be interested in it. You know,
it's there because it's there.
Yes. I have made a picture of a smoothie full of, whatever I'm going to drink for the, and it's half gone when I get home. Okay, who drank it? It's green. Like,
yes.
Who would want it? But it's so funny. I don't know if you remember Sherolynn, my daughters that used to come to the gym. Do you know my youngest daughter, the 18-year-old, she attends the gym every single day. I mean, she's so dedicated to it. And she was already slim, but just working on her tone. But that's what I mean about how you influence your household. I was doing that for me. Now they just tagging along because they were being nosy. You know, let me see what she doing now. They got to go to the gym with me. They got, where you get that outfit? I want that outfit. So
we set the tone.
You set the tone. My children love vegetables, and they talk about when they go out to eat with their friends. And they was like, we don't eat vegetables. My kids can have a meatless meal because they love, I saute Brussels sprouts. I'll, chop them up and make a fricassee or whatever. But I try,
which I love. It's so good.
Thank you. But I try to make different ways of how to eat vegetables. And, when I made the twice baked potatoes and used the cauliflower, I shelled out all the potato and replaced it with cauliflower and shredded cheese, and nobody knew the difference. The scallions and sour cream, and it was after everybody ate it. And I said,
Katrina, you had that look like you got some of that right now.
Right, listen. I'm like, look, that sounds like
Katrina was hanging on every word. You said cauliflower and scallions.
Yes, it was good. It was good. Yeah. So
watering over here.
Yeah. But you have to, you can do that. You can infuse that into your family, even with your significant other. You got to pepper it in with some stuff before you get them all the way across. But I made the spaghetti with the spaghetti squash and the sauce. They love it.
Yeah, my family, they say, don't tell us no more.
Right.
We had Taco Tuesday and it was meatless grounds. I use meatless grounds, put everything else in there, and I stopped telling them. I just let them eat it up. Right. Because you just don't even tell them. Just give it to them, and like you said, you set the tone, you make the plates. Go on and eat it. Yeah. So
I just love it too. I remember when I met my husband, I was telling him that, hey, I don't eat pork. And then all these other things. And like you said, you set the tone, you make the meals before you know it. So now that if there's not a smoothie made in the refrigerator, look, there is a problem, babe. You're not feeling well. What's going on? Why don't you put something in there? So that is so true. That is so true. So we do have to adopt those practices. Yes. The meals. Hey, look, I think I heard too, just at one time too, a lot of children that they don't like vegetables because they have seen someone frown up, or a mother or a dad frown up. So if you actually follow suit in and say, hey, try this is good, and put your love into it, how good it is, people will eat their vegetables.
Yes, they always want what you have, and your food always tastes better.
Yes.
My mother used to trick us into eating cabbage and stuff. She would put her special sauce on there. And we'd be like, Ma, where's the special sauce? So she's like, oh, shoot, let me put the special sauce on there. And we would eat the cabbage and eat the greens. And we used to have a garden growing up, so my mother cooked everything. And, oh, my God, it was so good. When I grew up, you know what the special sauce was?
What?
Italian dressing. That's all she used to put. She was like, oh, I got the special sauce. And we just like, with the special sauce, Ma, I can't eat it without the special Italian dressing. She would just drizzle a little bit, like the little vinegar. That was it.
Yes.
And we would eat it up. Yeah. So you're right about that. Yeah. One thing that I love, Dr. Jackson, is like you said, you're from the neighborhood. So being in the gym, a lot of people know you already. They're like, oh, that's Andreina. That's
Yeah, we went to
and I love that. You know what I'm saying? And even when they talked about, because you told me like your house is in the neighborhood and you built it up. And so I heard Miss Brenda was like, man, your house is looking good and all that other stuff. So the fact that people know you and that you're from, I know that got to feel good. And I do know a little bit of your backstory. You used to be a hairdresser and you told me you had a lot of business before. So tell us, how did you segue from being the senior class president to a hairdresser, group home, and now you are the Mindfitness CEO working in the hospitals? How did all of that come about?
You know, it's so funny how that happens, because we believe that we're just all over the place, but actually we're connecting the dots, but we're connecting them backwards and how we segue.
I needed to hear that.
Yes.
Okay.
So nothing is without purpose. And that's what I've learned. Nothing is, everything has a rhyme and a reason to it.
Yes.
So I remember in high school as I went to school actually for horticulture, floriculture, and that's where they teach you how to do landscapes and plant flowers and all that. I love plants and flowers and everything, but I think I like anything that allows me to be creative. And so, but my first pick was cosmetology school, and it was full. And so that was my second choice. And then I guess a slot came open and they asked me, did I want the slot? So I decided to do the cosmetology. But as I was doing cosmetology, and let me tell you something, I was raised by my great aunt. So my mom worked for Cleveland Clinic for 20 some years. So you know how when your parents work early, you got to go to your great aunt's house or grandma's house. And so I just always had an old soul. And so I was always in adult conversations. I've always had friends older than me. Just an old woman. I used to ask people what's ailing them. What's ailing you? And they'd be like, who raised you? What do you mean ailing you? Like, what do you mean? What does that mean? You know, or I would say, I declare.
Right.
I declare. But it was because I was just an old soul. Yes. And so I think that is where, when I started doing hair, and I would have conversation for people, like people were really guarded about their slots when it was time to get their hair done, because they wanted to have these conversations. They just always say, have you ever thought about just being a counselor? Like, I always feel so good when I leave from you, because you either gonna tell a funny story, an anecdotal story, or you gonna give me some insight, or you're gonna tell me about a TV show that parallels to what, but everything is timely. So that's what made me want to look into, well, what is social work? What is counseling? And so that's really how I got into the field. But when I got in the field, I started out in community development because I was very interested in building houses in the community. So, but from looking from a community perspective, not per se the real estate piece, but understanding, why does my housing not look like their housing? Or why do we have to have, cracked sidewalks and, dilapidated housing? And so that's what made me study that. But as I, moved through the program and did a couple of internships, I wanted to understand mental health. And believe it or not, I talk about African-American women, but it was because of our men. And the first thing I opened before I opened my group home was a halfway house, because I wanted to understand recidivism in African-American men. So I did my thesis on recidivism, and I partnered with a guy that was really into real estate, and he fronted me 2 houses, and I set up my first halfway house, and I would just go in and talk to the guys, and they were so respectful. They would walk me to my car in the evening. They would, they would cut the grass, and but we had some of the most robust conversations, and it made me it helped me really understand the Black man. And so as a result of that, I said, well, let me talk to my sisters. Let me focus in, because now I'm getting, as I'm studying there, I'm becoming a therapist and meeting with these guys. I saw a common theme of how African-American men felt about women, and it wasn't good. And sometimes it stemmed from their mothers. Yes. And so remember when we talked about that trust versus mistrust and those stages of development, I was able to pinpoint where they began to feel the way they feel and how it reflects in their relationships with women, because we're the only race that degrades women in our songs.
Mhm.
We love a race that exploits women in our music.
Yeah.
But we make it okay. It's okay for us to call each other out of our name, and it could be jokingly. And so I started to wonder, I just want to understand my people more. And I want them to understand that they're descendants of kings and queens. And so every chance I get, I'm going to talk to them about it. But what's so hard is you got to do it one person at a time. And I want to get it on a broader scale. I don't mind doing it one person at a time. It's quite interesting. It's fun.
Because
But
when you plant the seed, then they can go tell somebody else and tell
person.
somebody else. So that helps.
Yes. And I love it now that I've graduated to the level of auntie. You like, you the truth, auntie. You
Right.
the truth. And I was like, okay. Or they call me Dr. Auntie. All right, Dr. Auntie. You the truth. And I love it when I'm talking to 27-year-old males and they really look forward to coming to meet with me. They're like, oh, I'm not missing my session. So let me tell you what happened. And, you got to meet people where they at.
Yes.
And the desire is there. And everything that you said, even up to this point, going back to the Mind Fitness coaching with the ladies meeting with you, the desire is always there, but they don't know how, because they don't have the example. That's why being an example is so good, because you stay like, okay, how can I've heard men, go through stuff like, well, I couldn't tell my friends about it because what they gonna do? Make jokes about me, put me down, blow it off. People go through so much, but they don't see where they could get help. So I believe it when you say it, because if you're giving me a help that I've always desired, I'm going to take it. A lot of times, sometimes it's hard. People fight you because they've been in things for so long, and this is just how I am. But you cannot tell me that these people are us, because we are these people, right? That we have a desire to want to be better, to want to change, to want to see it. How does it look like? But if nobody in my neighborhood has ever had to change, if my mama, daddy, sister, brothers, uncles, they all the same, how do I change then? So that's why the work that you're doing is so important, because they want it. We want it. It's just you don't know how to get it. You don't know what it looks like sometimes.
Sherolynn, hearing you say that reminds me of a powerful story for me. I had a young man in my office, and I don't know what he was upset about when he came, but he was so upset that he ended up cussing me out, called me out my name, and he just blew a fuse and flipped the chair over, and I'm out of here. I said, oh, you don't have to leave. You still got 15 minutes, so you don't have to leave. I said, but before you leave, if you must leave, I need you to answer one question for me. And he said, what? I said, who in your life do I remind you of to make you talk to me like that?
Right.
He's crying.
Right.
And he was like, I'm sorry. I said, I know I remind you of somebody. Sit down, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And I let the session go over, because here was my opportunity. He, just peeled the layers back like an onion. And I was not going to miss that opportunity, because I got to get to the next person. If they want to leave, it's okay. If they want to wait. But I always, try to do a disclaimer and say, hey, I might be having a breakthrough. So I might be 10 minutes late, 15 minutes, or I might step outside the door and say, you know what, I need to reschedule with you.
Right.
I'm having a breakthrough. And they understand that. And I tell them, don't take it personal, because if it's you, I'm not going to stop the clock on you.
That's good. That's good.
And it was just such a powerful session that the guy had, and he apologized, and he went into a lot of childhood trauma. It's powerful. So it's needed.
Most definitely.
That is so good. That is so good, Andreina. And then Sherolynn, this is just overall listening to you. We so need this. So how do we is there plans to increase? You need like 2, 3, 4, 10 people on staff. We want to reach everybody. It's just one of you. So is there a plan to have this sort of thing?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to be her first employee.
Exponential growth. And that is the plan. That is the plan. I would love for us just to, to go have these discussions in community centers, church forums, just to get the dialogue going. And we just keep moving around. It doesn't always have to be me speaking. The young lady, I think it was one of the young ladies in the class last week was a therapist, your friend.
Yep, Shirley. Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't always have to be me, but we have to start the dialogue somewhere, and it needs to catch a fire. We need to connect with some of our council people at the council meetings. We need to connect with our community leaders, the pastors in the community, and say, hey, would you be interested in having this conversation? It's just a discussion. We just open it up. And we could do it in a series, or we could do however you want to do it. But it has to be an opportunity for these topics to be addressed, because it just sparks something. And then the next person say, oh, I heard somebody speaking, and what they said just resonated with me. And I think if you would benefit from coming to hear what's being said.
It should be a curriculum. I've seen where instead of suspending kids, they start to let them go meditate. And what is being said needs to be a part of the curriculum to take, especially for disenfranchised inner city or whatever, where they need it. It is something that if you help make aware, my mother said this, you can't bend, it's hard to bend, you can't bend an old tree. So when they're young and you can still start, if you can start there, you make a better difference. Like it's easier for the switch to turn back, in a sense. To let them have a better future. A lot of times you're dealing with people where they've went through so many hard things in life, and you pulling them back. What if we can prevent that? What if we can prevent all the hardship that's coming their way? Can't prevent everything. The word says in life, you're going to have trials and tribulations. But if a lot of these things we can give you a setup or bring you down,
skills
help before you go and self-destruct. For lack of better words, to self-destruct. I wanted to ask, what did you find out about yourself as you took the years through the classes, developing the program? Again, I know, just to remind everybody, we met because you remember the gym when I came into the gym as well. And so what did you learn about yourself, and what type of things do you do to keep yourself on track? Because I know you pull a lot of it in. It had to be personal in order to go forth. And then how do you, I'll just stay there. So what have you learned about yourself from them?
What the Bible says, too much is given, much is required. Listen, I realized very quickly, I can't keep this all to myself. I have to share it, because I think of all that was not shared with me. I think of all the stereotypes and stigmas that I just kept repeating as a result of, well, this is just how it is. And, it'll continue to be that way. I just, something as simple as, oh, I don't vote. Why you don't vote? Because my grandma said. Just little things like that. And it's no disrespect to our culture, because when we know better, we do better. I find myself educating elderly people about things that I've learned. And it's not in a disrespectful way. It's with all due respect, that even when I'm sharing something with them, this is what I've learned and this is why I do it, And so I feel like it is my responsibility. I've been a mentee for a very long time. Now I have to mentor, I have to give back, I have to pour into, I have to practice what I preach. And so that is really why I can handle myself and carry myself in such a way that I can continue to be in a leadership role. Because every time I want to act out or retract or roll down the skip.
Right.
Okay, now you just tell us so-and-so in counseling.
Right.
Lucky. That's what
Yes. So I got to check in with myself and check my temperature. And it's all about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is it's more important than intellectual. Intelligence, because emotional intelligence governs our life. Intellectual, I can go to a computer, I can go to a book and get that intellectual piece, but that emotional piece, that's something that has to be honed and refined and constantly worked on.
That's good.
Every day. You're going to get a lesson.
Right.
Every day you're going to get a lesson. I promise you.
Child, I am so emotional. That's one thing I definitely have worked on. And she right. I mean, we have, doing our conversations for actions, I'm sitting there like, ooh, child, that didn't help me. Last week, and this all of them, because I've been in all of them. But last week you was like, yeah, it's good for people to go to therapy. I'm in my head like, child, this therapy right now. Okay. This is good for me. I don't care. Don't nobody else get it. I'm getting it.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well,
I have my aha moments too, right there.
Yeah.
So that's what that aha moment is called, as a defining moment. It's a moment that changes your life forever, whether it's positive or negative. It just did something to you. You'd be like, oh, you know how Oprah say, oh, that's a tweetable moment.
Right.
Mine's a defining moment. It just moves you, and you say, oh, okay, well, thank you. You know, I receive
that. Yep.
Now, I wanted to ask that because that's kind of like a twofold type of question. So you're pouring out everything. You know, this was a setup from the beginning, that you're walking in your purpose.
Yes.
So even with that, you're walking in your purpose, that you give out so much. So at the end of the day, what does Andreena do to keep yourself grounded and you together?
Oh, wow. Okay. So Andreena has several techniques. So I love motivational videos, or listening to I could pick a pastor and just listen to them. You know, I have a book of affirmations. I have journals. I write on my dry erase boards here. I got one here. I have dream boards, vision boards. And so every now and then, now I hang my vision boards in my closet because I like to look at it when I open the closet. I like to see my vision board, and you know, it's nice to make them. You can make them for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. But I do all things positive. I'm gonna find some positive to watch. You know, now I will grant it, my indulgence is crime shows, but I watch them to understand pathophysiology of people, and diagnosing people. I love Dr. Phil. I love the OWN network, and you know, just so I try to align myself. Like my default setting is something positive. Like my kids know that, you know, I have an extensive library. I have just one room that's just my library, and it's I got books on finances, self-improvement, leadership, my area of expertise in school, my religious books, and then my fiction. You know, because sometimes we have to just, you know,
release.
Yep.
I love to walk, run, exercise. I have a bike. Sometimes I'll just get in the backyard and hula hoop. I love getting in my yard to garden. I love to cook. I love decorating. So I have a plethora of things that I can do, and it does not have to involve, you know, negative habits or, you know, but I just enjoy life. Do you know, like, in order for you to be successful, it comes from within. So, I love social media, and I like to look at the stuff on there, but I hate when everything's concerted towards money and fine. I could teach you how to be a millionaire. I could teach you how to do, teaching me how to love myself and live in my purpose, and all of that's going to come, because your rich is not my rich. Finances don't move me. Don't get me wrong.
No, we got to live,
and we got to make our money, but that should not be your number one motivator, because you'll be chasing it forever if you go that route. So when you live in your purpose, oh my goodness, you're talking about a wonderful. I jump up when I wake up. It's like, oh, what do I do today? Okay, let me see what I'm gonna do today. You know,
I feel the same way.
Love that energy. You know, I have a synergy, and my kids be like, oh, here come mommy. I'll be sending out text messages like, I'm going to the park, or when it was COVID, I was like, I'm working out in the living room at 10 minutes, who don't meet me there, or you square, or, you know, they be like, oh. You might as well go because she's gonna come knock on the door anyway. And
Yeah.
then I take my dry erase and write on the mirror.
We spread it all the way around, and it's effective. Like you said, you set the tone. And
Yes.
it is effective.
It is.
And it's a blessing when you get to. And I changed my conversation because the power is in the tongue. And so like, oh, I gotta go. No, I get the opportunity to do this. And one of my mantras is, my peace, my purpose on my own path at my own pace.
Yes, I love
you
that.
Said, the world could swoop you up. You on social media, you see all this stuff, and you feel like you should have been. Nope, my peace, my purpose, and my own path, on my own path, and my own pace.
Exactly.
Because, that's how we should be. But if you set the tone, and whether they fight against it or not, like you said before, everybody gonna be on the ball.
They gonna be on the ball. Yes. You remember when I started coming to the gym, I had my sister-in-law, then my daughter, and then my sister-in-law's daughter, and then my other daughter. And it was just like, I just have an entourage. They be like, well, what mommy about to do? Well, let's go see what she do. And they do. They do.
That's so good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, our hour is almost up here, but we don't want to leave our viewers without a word of encouragement. So Andreena, share with us just a word of encouragement or just a nugget.
Oh gosh, let's see, a word of encouragement. I think my word of encouragement would be live in the moment. If you could just stay right here in the moment, not worrying about what's going to happen when you get here, what happened yesterday, who said what, but staying in the moment, staying conscious, staying aware. I'm a person that I observe everything from the flowers to the cracks in the sidewalk to the way a tree leans, but just stay in the moment and be aware. Sometimes just take things in and appreciate where you at. The best way to start doing that is just be conscious of your breathing when you're just walking.
That's so good.
And thanking God, wow, I can breathe in and breathe out, and just counting or saying your ABCs or just doing something, but being in the moment when you're doing it. We don't even stay in our awareness when we eating. Before we know it, the food gone. Oh, I ate all that. But take the time to just enjoy your food, enjoy your coffee, enjoy your drive to the next destination. I don't care if you run into the gas station or Family Dollar. Just enjoy I'm gonna listen to the words to this song. I'm gonna walk through the store and really look at what's in here, or the layout, or the person behind the counter. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to stay aware. That song, Stay Woke. Just be aware, stay present.
That's good.
That's good.
That's my word.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, thank you, Andreena, so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.